The year is 1815. The Kandyan Kingdom, the last bastion of Sri Lankan independence, crumbles. The British, with their insatiable hunger for land and resources, have finally seized control. The island, once a tapestry of vibrant kingdoms and ancient traditions, finds itself shackled under the weight of the British Empire. For centuries, Sri Lanka had been a prize, sought by many. Its strategic location in the Indian Ocean, fertile lands and exotic spices had attracted traders and conquerors alike. But the Kandyan kings, fierce and proud, had resisted foreign domination, until now. The signing of the Kandyan Convention marks a turning point, signalling the end of an era and the beginning of a long and arduous journey for the Sri Lankan people. The lush, verdant hills of Sri Lanka, once home to ancient villages and thriving communities, become the new battleground. But this is not a war fought with swords and shields. It is a silent, insidious conquest driven by an insatiable thirst for profit. The weapon of choice? Tea. Across the highlands, the British carve out vast plantations, raising thousands of acres of pristine rainforest. The transformation is brutal and swift, with ancient trees felled and streams diverted. The idyllic villages that once dotted the landscape vanish, their inhabitants forced to flee. The land, once communally owned, is now the property of the British Crown and their local collaborators. The Sri Lankan farmer, once proud and independent, is reduced to a labourer on his own land. Stripped of their ancestral lands, they are left with two agonising choices: toil on the plantations for a pittance or face destitution. The British, with their cold efficiency, implement a system designed to maximise profit at the expense of human dignity. Taxes, exorbitant and unforgiving, are levied on everything imaginable. Land ownership, once a birthright, becomes a luxury few can afford. The farmers, their lives and livelihoods shattered, are forced to watch helplessly as their children are driven into a life of servitude. Working conditions are deplorable, with long hours under the scorching sun and meagre rations. Resistance is met with swift and brutal punishment, the whip a constant reminder of the British presence. Section 4. Whispers of Rebellion, from Uva-Wellassa to 1915. But the spirit of resistance, though battered, is not broken. In 1818, the Uva-Wellassa Rebellion erupts, led by local chieftains. It is a desperate, bloody struggle fueled by a burning desire for freedom. The rebellion is brutally suppressed, villages razed, leaders executed. The British, shaken but not deterred, tighten their grip. But the seeds of dissent have been sown. Decades later, in 1915, resentment boils over once more. Fueled by economic hardship, ethnic tensions and heavy-handed British policies, riots erupt across the country. The 1915 riots, though ultimately quelled, mark a turning point, exposing the fragility of British rule and galvanizing the movement for self-determination. Section 5. A New Dawn, the struggle for self-rule. The 20th century ushers in a new era of political awakening. Inspired by the sacrifices of their forefathers and the global movement for decolonization, a new generation of Sri Lankan leaders emerges. Educated, articulate and determined, they understand that the path to freedom lies in unity and political action. They form political parties, newspapers and trade unions, mobilizing the masses and demanding self-rule. The British, weakened by 2 world wars and facing mounting pressure both domestically and internationally, find it increasingly difficult to maintain their grip on power. The struggle for independence is long and arduous, fought on the streets, in the courts and within the hallowed halls of the British Parliament. Sri Lankan leaders, with unwavering resolve, engage in negotiations, demanding nothing less than full independence. Section 6. Independence, a Nation Reborn, 1948. Finally, on February 4, 1948, the impossible dream is realized. Sri Lanka, after over a century of British rule, finally reclaims its sovereignty. As the Union Jack is lowered for the last time and the Sri Lankan flag is raised, a collective cheer erupts across the island. It is a moment of immense joy, pride and hope. The journey has been long and arduous, marked by sacrifice, struggle and bloodshed. But through it all, the spirit of the Sri Lankan people has never been broken. Independence is not an end in itself, but a new beginning, a chance to heal old wounds and rebuild their nation.